Welcome back to Athletic Everyday, day 106. I'm coming at you with a lower body day from my work gym. I was not planning on doing this workout at my work gym, but we have two skill mills here. So curved treadmills that have a resistance dial, so you can really crank up the resistance on the treadmill, on the conveyor belt, whatever it is. And that enables you to get into a sled push motion. So you're able to lean right the way forward in like a 45-degree angle and then get your knees, ankles, and hips into a very similar range of motion or joint angles as you would if you were doing a sprint, for example, acceleration sprints. I kind of like to think of it as training your body in a sort of more controlled way, in a less explosive way, to produce force when you're at a 45-degree angle, when your center of mass is in front of your feet. Because a lot of people, when they sprint, they can't get into those angles because A, they don't have the mobility or they don't have the coordination to get into those positions. So it can be a good way to push a sled, because obviously when you're leaning forward on the sled, you're not going to lose your balance because you can lean forward into the sled and balance against that. And then you get all of the benefits from acceleration sprinting. The other benefit of sled pushes is that they are only concentric forces. There's no eccentric loading when you do sled pushes, which means you do get to work on concentric force production. Granted, that sled resistance isn't that high and there's a limit to what the machine can produce, but by increasing the angle of your torso, i.e. getting into a more and more forward lean, then you are essentially improving the ability of your lower body to produce force in deep ranges of flexion at the ankle, the knee, and the hip, which obviously has a myriad of benefits for sprinting, jumping, and any kind of athletic activity. So that was the main reason why I decided to do these sled pushes. And I also decided to superset them. So I do like a minute of sled push and then a minute and a half of backwards walking on the skill mill. Because when you walk backwards, obviously the knee also goes over the toe, and it's very good, very healthy for getting some blood flow through the front side of those knees. So I've kind of been struggling with a little bit of tenderness in my right patella tendon, but after I did these sled pushes and backwards walking on the sled, so like slightly upward tilt on the sled, it almost completely went away. I had no pain in my knees whatsoever, and it felt absolutely fine doing this jumping workout, doing max approach jumps and trying to jump as high as I can, basically. So yeah, that's the benefits of sled and backwards walking. Knees over toes guy was definitely onto something. I would highly recommend doing those things if you have access to either a sled or the ability to have a hill that you can walk backwards up. Everyone's got a hill they can walk backwards up. Anyway, after the jump session, I did some Nordics, and I think, again, this is why my work gym is so good. This is probably the best setup I've been able to find in recent memory for setting up Nordic curls. Because when you can't do a full Nordic, you can't get that same loading on the eccentric and concentric portion of the movement. You can only work and fight your way down on the eccentric until you can then help yourself up with the concentric, or until you can do a full bodyweight concentric Nordic, which can take a long time. But if you can add resistance with a band, where the band stretches in the most difficult portion of the range of motion and offers the most assistance in the most difficult portion of the range of motion, if you assist this over time, just like you would a pull-up or a dip, if you can't do a full pull-up or a full dip, then this, I think, is a faster way to get your first Nordic. So I think I'm going to have to incorporate training here as part of my weekly routine, mostly because of the Nordics, but also because the gym has really good facilities that enable me to train a lot more effectively with certain movements and certain movement patterns. There are some things I do prefer to do at home, and obviously I will still do a lot more things at home. But in the meantime, I think that having gym facilities is also a big benefit, and I'd be stupid not to take advantage of them. And here's a little hack to train your soleus with bent leg calf raises, is to use the leg extension machine and put some plates underneath your toes, just like this. All right, that is pretty much it for today's workout. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one, guys.